Hello, everybody. Welcome to World Edition. It looks like Mark is behind the scenes right now, but we do have Steve Rao, who has beamed in from the Raleigh-Durham area, who's going to give us an update of what's going on
Hello,
around the
everybody.
world.
Sorry, I'm not dressed for the occasion. I'm going to open up today, and I got to go to Charlotte. But welcome to Roku TV, Pod TV's World Edition. This is Steve Rao. I am a co-host of the show and an analyst on the show. Looking forward to getting back to doing more full-time moderating soon. I wanted to just welcome everyone to the show. And today I wanted to talk about a very important meeting that's occurring this afternoon between Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India's Prime Minister, and President Donald Trump. It's going to be an interesting meeting. As I open up, this is an important meeting between the world's oldest democracy, the United States of America, and the world's largest democracy, the Republic of India, which is also the third fastest growing economy in the world. Now, what's interesting is that President Trump was very close to India and Prime Minister Modi in his first term. And all eyes are watching now on what is going to happen as we begin the second term. Now, there's a couple of issues that many people around the country are looking at. First, there are many Indian Americans that are concerned about the deportations that are occurring with Indians. About a third of the illegal immigrants are Indian, and there's been images of Indians that are here not legally being cuffed and handcuffed. So there's concerns about that. There's also Indian Americans that really believe we need to streamline our immigration system. That there are here Indians that are paying the taxes, that are on skilled visas, and they're waiting too long become citizens, and they want to have a system where they can get a visa if they start a business. They can accelerate their path to citizenship for them and their spouses. So this is going to be very interesting to see. The other thing to look at is I think President Trump, it's projected or predicted, will ask India to buy more of its defense equipment from United States manufacturers. Now, a few years ago, there was the U.S.-India civil nuclear deal, which George W. Bush signed when he was president. And we've had Swades Chatterjee on the show, who was involved in that deal, along with Sanjay Puri and from the U.S. Impact. And the bottom line is that this could affect India's strategic advantage in technology and innovation. They're leading the charge in AI and other areas, and they're a bit concerned of, how do they balance this working with China at the same time working with the United States as China is emerging as their enemy, and Trump is playing a little bit of détente. I can go on and on with the issues, but this is a very important meeting. All eyes are watching, and we don't know where the protectionism is go, as President Trump is now saying that all tariffs will go into effect very soon, and we just don't know the impact this is going to have on nations like India, who also will be affected because we do get a lot of goods from India, and particularly, certain types of manufactured goods and things like that. Their manufacturing sector has grown. So we're going to see what this all means for the world alliances, the new world order, Trump 2.0. I'm going off my memory on some articles I read about it. I didn't want to read off my screen today. Probably missed a few things out, but I think it's going to be an interesting meeting and a lot going on in the world as, we look at RFK going to be probably voted in. Most of the Trump cabinet is in. And we're going to be really excited to talk about some of these issues today. Let's go ahead and get started in my favorite world of turbulence and political theater. Get out your popcorn, as David Walker and I always say.
Yeah, well, we'll have to get that out. It's very interesting about India because the reports I get, Steve, is they're part of this thing called BRICS, which I have a real problem with because the BRICS is aimed at the United States. So we don't know how that's going to play out. The last I heard was that our friends at India are trying to undermine the US dollar and undermine the United States because of their relationship with BRICS. If you look at BRICS, it's Brazil, Russia. We're not on good terms with Russia. Of course, the things could change. There's talks going on right now, India, China, and South Africa. The thing is, but it looks like we're not invited to this particular party. So I'm sure that BRICS and the movement on BRICS is going to get brought up in this particular meeting, and the undermining of the U.S. positions by India. It's going to be a big, they're going to throw this stuff on the table. But this is also the job of the president. So I have any problems with Trump doing it because that's what you pay him the big bucks for. How it's going to turn out, I don't know yet, but you're correct on one thing. India, China, and the United States. You're talking about three big superpowers that are in this area. Though India is the largest country, China is huge, and so is the United States. And speaking about huge, we bring in Rick Rosner, who has a huge IQ from California, and see if he's processed what's going to happen with the Trump and Modi. I think we're speculating really what they're going to come out with.
I don't know. I got vaxxed yesterday, which can make you sleepy, so I'm barely awake.
Okay, well here's something interesting you also did bring up, RFK. Okay, I'm totally against this guy, and part of the reason I don't like lawyers, especially the ones that pretending to be medical specialists and they're not. And so him heading this up, we're going to continue to challenge. The other problem is this: if you read the latest statistics, the flu is up 30%. It's the highest it's been in 15 years because morons like him promote no vaccinations. The estimates are as high as 60,000 people died of the flu this year. It's the highest in 15 years. Again, because morons like him are anti-vaxxers. You're not supposed to take the flu vaccine. So I believe he's a horrible choice. I believe one thing you're going to have to do with this administration, you have to stay on top of it. You have to siphon what's the good from the bad, because not all of it is good. And this guy's bad. Here's the other bad thing about this guy. All right. And Trump in general, he shuts down the information from the CDC and the mortality and morbidity report. That is used by all doctors all over the country to determine, basically find out who's dying of what. For them to do that much damage tells us that the CDC and the NIH and our health needs to be moved away from politicians. Politicians should not determine the health of the United States.
I agree. I think I'm going to just chime in here. Right. No, go ahead. I'm going to chime in here real quick. I agree. I think it's very concerning. I have to leave early. I'll be back up probably on Friday. But I think my wife is very concerned. She's a doctor, and she doesn't talk about politics very much. But she's really concerned about, if he does end vaccines and he reduces funding for the CDC, what if we do get hit with another pandemic, which could happen with the spread of disease around the world? It's very scary. Before I head out, I wanted to bring Sasha Starr in to talk about Ukraine. The other thing I forgot to mention in my remarks, we are coming up with the anniversary of Ukraine's invasion, the invasion of Ukraine on the 24th. I wanted to get his perspective on now Trump's call for peace. Sasha, where does this play out, and what are you feeling right now?
Yes, you're right. In a few days, on 24th of February, there will be 3 years since start of Russia of Ukraine. Now, Trump was saying during this his election that he'll do a peace in 1 day. It would involve 2 telephone calls, one to Putin saying you have to agree to peace or else I will give Ukraine all advanced weapons. I will start all kind of sanctions against you. So then he calls Zelensky. Says, Zelensky, you must agree to a peace because I will stop sending weapons and any help and so on. Fairly easy and on the surface quite doable plan. I would, first of all, I have a main question, which I don't have answer from any sources. Why Trump cares about this war at all? Why he needs a peace in 24 hours or 48 hours or 5,000 hours or 7 years? Why this concerns Trump at all?
Because we're spending them billions of dollars.
No,
Sasha, give me a break.
Sasha, I can answer that for you.
That's pretty easy to answer.
He can stop help to Ukraine, period, and say Europeans, you must help, which is he's saying anyway. that the European Union or NATO has to take the guarantees of peace. They put their troops on the border between the future border between Russia and Ukraine, or so on. So what he's saying, U.S. will not spend a penny, U.S. will not send troops, U.S. will not do this or that, but U.S. will make a peace. Same thing as what he's doing in Gaza. Somebody will move Palestinians from Gaza elsewhere. Where? Nobody knows. Maybe Qatar, maybe Egypt, maybe some other countries.
How about
No.
Jordan?
No country so far agrees to accept what, 2 million Palestinians? Nobody is going to take even 500 Palestinians or even 25 Palestinians for that matter. So that's out. Okay, then somebody, Americans are not going to move to Gaza. No. Somebody will get to Gaza. Somebody will invest and make all this beautiful Las Vegas of the Middle East. Somebody will do this and that, but America will own all it without moving troops anywhere. Without doing that. You know what? I'll tell you one thing. You can be crazy a little bit. You can be crazy a lot. And you can be crazy like Donald Trump. That's what we are dealing with.
Hey, Sasha,
It's a
speaking of
complete crazy person.
but
He's
Sasha,
talking a lot, but he's not doing.
Sasha.
He's not capable even do anything. Look at
But
this
Sasha, speaking of-
speech, remember, from White House.
But
So
Sasha,
he
speaking of crazy
Sasha.
like Donald Trump and everything like that and everything, there has been several. Hold on, Jacoby. There have been several people that watched a major event happen yesterday, and there are people that are trying to understand the dynamics of what happened, because there was a press conference where apparently Elon Musk was showing the waste, or the alleged waste, that was taking place in the government as the head of Doge and everything like that. And some people are wondering why his 4-year-old son with the unusual name was there picking his nose and doing everything else. But a lot of body language experts are also saying that it might have been a power dynamic, and whether Elon Musk was actually showing that he was actually in control of the president and all along those lines. So I'd love to hear people's thoughts around this particular incident that took place yesterday, where the first time that I'm aware of, a non-government official was there doing a press conference and was allegedly showing these $1 million of waste that were out there, including people that might have had money and everything like that. But what do you take on this?
He is a government official. There is a lot of waste, and you're going to lose that argument. So get off of it. Here's an argument you guys will win, believe it or not. Your friend Peter Hesperth, or whatever his name is, said that the military will not hire transgender people. Guess what? He can't do that because they're protected under the Constitution, under the equal protection laws. So if you want an argument, see, your Democrats are so stupid. You grab losing arguments and you throw them around when you have winning arguments and you ignore them. A big winning argument is Peter Hesperth, or whatever his name is, saying that he can't hire, the military won't hire transgender people. He has to hire transgender people. He will lose that argument. We're going to be discussing that next Tuesday night on the Lawyer's Den, because there's quite a few executive orders that were passed by your friend Donald Trump that are basically illegal, and that was one of them. That's a winning argument. Stick to the winners. Don't play your losers. You guys play your losers all the time, and that's the reason you lose. You got another big winning argument. He's handing you winning arguments, and you run off and talk about some kid in the White House. Here's another winning argument. RFK and Trump shut down the CDC exchange of information in the mortality and morbidity report. That is a winning argument. Here's another winning argument. The flu is the highest ever in 15 years because RFK and his anti-vaxxers convinced people not to take that, and they've killed up to potentially 65,000 people this year because they didn't take the flu vaccine. That's a winning argument. So why are Democrats so bloody stupid that you grab the losing arguments and you throw them around when you have winning arguments? It's like I'm playing
Are you being rhetorical, or are you actually asking a question?
Jacoby's going to answer your question.
Are you being rhetorical, or are you actually asking the question?
You guys are playing news. That's the reason you guys are going to lose again.
So again, are you being rhetorical, or are you actually asking the question?
I'm not
Because
asking a question. I'm just
okay,
stating
so
facts.
if you want the answer, let me answer real quick for you because
Yeah,
Sasha
please
also asked
don't
a question.
you're losing arguments again.
So Sasha also asked a question, and we kind of glossed over that question because you ran off on another a tangent again, which you're doing now because that's not actually the question that Mark even asked.
Right.
So the thing that Sasha asked, why is Donald Trump doing and wanting this whole quote unquote peace thing? He doesn't really want it. He wants the show of it. He wants to be able to brag about it, to manipulate the individuals, to say, hey, look what I did. And that will actually, you're not letting me finish, Nick. You're not letting me finish. You want me to answer the question. I'm trying to get there for you. Because he's easily manipulating people like you, but you're not even listening to actually the answer because what's going on is you're actually just parroting.
I'm talking over you because you talk over me
Of
all
course,
the time.
let me just go ahead and finish because you're going to attempt to talk over me, which we all know that I do speech for a living and I can actually speak over anybody. So let me point out, Sasha pointed out again the Russia, why he wanted the Russia stuff, and that was just again a showpiece, just to be able to manipulate his base. That's all it is. He doesn't really even care about peace or know how to even attempt to get there. So again, all he's trying to do is manipulate people. And what Mark had asked about the whole showcase that he put in front that Elon Musk did with his kid running around and everything, Elon doesn't care. Elon paid for this. Elon bought Trump. And Elon knows he can actually do whatever he wants to do. It doesn't matter because nobody's going to challenge him. Because if they do challenge him, he's able to use the strong arm of the government because he can tell Trump, hey, look, we need to go after these people. And that's what he does. And so, again, Elon is in a position that is illegal. So the argument itself that Nick keeps wanting to say, well, we need to shift over here and talk about transgender issues. Ironically, that was the thing that Nick said that we lost on. So why are you going to say, hey, let's argue transgender issues when we have Elon Musk closing down the Department of Education, something that he has no authority to do, but that's what he's doing, firing individuals in the Department of Education. Elon Musk fired people in the CFP. What does the CFP do? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau actually protects individuals from scammers, banks, and all this other stuff that are actually manipulating and taking money from you. These individuals were fired by an unelected official who does not have the authority to do that. Elon Musk is also having people in the cabinet refer their individuals or their hires to Doge before they can actually get hired, something that no other individual can do. So when you want to say, Nick, hey, oh yeah, let's go to the winning argument. The winning argument of transgender issues is what we're going to win on. No, that's not a winning argument. That is ignorance at its best.
I just want to mention something. There are no winning arguments, period. Because what they erected a structure where, for example, Donald Trump, okay, he is responsible partly to Congress, maybe Senate, maybe even Supreme Court if he wishes, and if Supreme Court will not rule in his favor to begin with. Now, Musk is responsible only to Donald Trump, no one else in universe. So Musk can do anything what he wants to do, saying, well, I talked to Trump and he asked me to do so, and so on. Now, Trump is not responsible because he say, well, listen, this is Musk's prerogative. He's doing whatever he has to do. I have no. Now, if you remember, in fact, that what is a press conference or something in the White House when Musk was with his little kid, and that kid was picking his nose and put his hands on Trump's table, and then he walks to Trump and talking to him, and Trump turns away from 4-year-old kid. Now, there is a certain protocol when you the way a dress code in White House, where you have to be in a suit and tie and so on, but it doesn't concern Musk. Musk comes the way he wants to be seen. He's talking twice as much as Trump. he showed complete disrespect for the old idiot, and he just shows who is in the house, the real owner, the real boss. He showed it left and right, and this old little Trump was sitting at his table. And but see, the thing is that whatever Musk is doing and talking about, Trump cannot even contemplate, he can't even conceptualize and understand even 10% of what's going on and what Musk is doing. And so that means Trump could be excused not only because he has immunity, because he just doesn't understand what's going on. So how can you ask any questions from a person who doesn't understand the hell of what's going on?
It's Rick's turn. Rick.
Yeah. So the bad news is a lot of flu. The good news is this is the best winter for COVID since COVID began. So I still wear a mask at the gym because there's all sorts of knuckleheads at the gym. Also, I'm old, I'm married, and I don't. So if people think I'm a weirdo for wearing a mask, it doesn't matter because I'm not trying to get laid at the gym anymore.
Hey, just along those lines, Rick, along those same lines and everything, one of the reports, I got it actually from one of our past hosts, or maybe it was on Instagram or Facebook or one of the social media sites, and Jacoby can confirm this with me and anybody else. You can look it up, Rick. But I understand that a major illness that was out there is now hit 4 states, including North Carolina. I think it was originally in Kansas, and I think even Dr. Patmos has talked about before on his show. But apparently there is a outbreak of tuberculosis, and we thought we were done with tuberculosis, but it is now in 4 or 5 states, including right here.
Tuberculosis always kind of bubbles along below the surface. If you live in a big city, you'll test as slightly positive on a tuberculosis test. It's always floating around out there, but it's a risk, and it's over the past 50 years, it's become increasingly antibiotic resistant.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I got another question for you, Andy Toby, and if Nick wants to jump in, because he said he has no problem with what I'm getting ready to mention and everything. But I understand that Asha Vance is now, who is the vice president's wife and everything, is on the board now. But there are several prominent people, including Renee Fleming and Shonda Rhimes, who is a well-known TV executive that has stepped down from the Kennedy board because Donald Trump, the president, was voted the chairman of the board and all along those lines. And he said that he's going to bring back the greatness of theater and all along those lines to this agency that was named after Kennedy and is done the Kennedy honors, an honors that he has actually refused to go to when he was president the first time and everything like that. So what direction do we think the Kennedy Center is going to go in, which is one of the premier performance centers in DC, now that he is in charge and now that some of these key people have stepped down? I just named 2 of them, but I know there were others as well. As a matter of fact, there were people, by the way, Nick, of Shondaland, which is Shonda Rhimes' company, that were at NATPE and everything. I'm hoping that some of them will come on the show because I did reach out to some of them and everything like that. But what is your take on which direction the Kennedy Centers will go now that it's under the direction of Donald Trump?
So entertainment generally has no litmus test for who gets to make entertainment besides will it make money for the parent company. Now, there has been some, there's a lot of political correctness and, in LA, there's, there are more liberals in LA, but you can't just make liberal shit if it doesn't make money. And when you impose a litmus test of being conservative on entertainment, you limit your talent pool often to a bunch of dumb shits like Hercules, Kevin Sorbo, and Chachi. And so when you it's like, imagine making Sophie's Choice, but with anal. Like, so Meryl Streep's not going to do anal. When you've limited your pool of performers who will have, anal sex, that's going to be a very bad Sophie's Choice. And Kennedy Center is going to be, if they're doing a conservative litmus test, you've limited your talent pool by 90%. You've cut it down by 90%, and yeah, you probably won't get. Now, I've never turned to Kennedy Center for entertainment, so I don't frickin' know. But I assume, yeah, it'll be putting on a bunch of crap.
Hey,
Okay,
Jacoby,
I'll
what's
tell
your
you
take?
what I
Hold on a
think
second.
we should do with
Jacoby,
the
what's your
Kennedy
take? Hold on a
Center.
second. I was
Mark,
going to ask Jacoby and you, because one of the people that the other person that stepped down was the leader of Ben Folds 5, which is actually based here as part of the kind of North Carolina indie rock scene in my mind and everything like that. But they have definitely got some North Carolina ties and everything like that. So what's your take, Jacoby, on this Kennedy Center now being conservative? And we already said 3 liberals, I just named them, that have already stepped off of the board.
So, in other words, if I remember, and Sasha, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not up on my history. But in Germany, when Hitler took over Germany, weren't the arts and all the other things considered part of that takeover, and pushing out propaganda to basically have that arts area kind of showcase the individuals that took over in a good light. Also, in terms of, I mean, I'm not that old, and I remember, there was a document called Project 2025 that this was all part of that propaganda machine in terms of taking over these arenas to force out propaganda. Because as Mark just pointed out, having a conservative litmus test to be a part of that Kennedy Center means that you are, as the government, trying to put out a particular ideology to hopefully make that what is the norm across the nation. So my take is that this is frightening, yet people will blindly defend it because they're going to take issue that people chose to have the views that they did, and those views didn't line up with the racism or the anti-immigrant or the anti-LGBTQIA, because they didn't line up with that hateful view. They're wanting this conservative outlet to push out some type of propaganda. Same way that happened.
In other words,
Sasha, correct me if I'm wrong. Same way that Hitler did way back when. And this is not calling Trump Hitler. This is actually just pointing out a historical precedent that was set by an individual that did wrong.
I got it. The Democrats have been doing it for years, so it was good. Now the Republicans are doing it's bad. But I'm going to help you out, Mark.
The Democrats didn't do it, Nick. You're trying to push out propaganda too. The actual Kennedy Center was split down the middle in the board. It was split down the middle. It had half Democrats, half conservatives. So don't go putting out this showcase that, the Democrats were doing it. No, people in there just chose it. So what it was is right now, you are for the government propaganda machine. That's what you're for. Just say that. It's okay. This is what we'll do. We'll just go ahead and do like Trump wants, because he'd hate this show and hate me.
Okay, I'll help you out, Jacoby, because you won't stop talking. Okay, here's the deal.
Okay, I can hit on you. So look at there. Doesn't work.
Go on.
Guys, come on. Just get to something.
Here's the deal. Here's my opinion of the Kennedy Center. Shut it down. I think that Elon Musk needs to get a hold of it, report to Donald Trump that we're spending government money, $23 million a year, according to this AI, $20 million in bonds, like $50 million to entertain the morons in Washington, D.C., and which we don't need. So here's my recommendation to the Kennedy Center. Shut it down, period, to the end. Now, if there's private industry that supports it to $34 million, let private industry do it. But as far as the government, it's not a government function. It's another part of government waste. It's government political corruption. When the Democrats get a hold of it, you get to listen to LBGTQIA is wonderful. The Republicans get a hold of LBGTQIA is bad. I don't want to listen to any of it, and I don't want to pay for any of it. I don't even live in Washington, D.C., even have it in my background.
So I want to talk about let me say so. I want to talk about the conservative talent pool again for a second. So there are two good conservative directors. One is Clint Eastwood, but he's 94. He doesn't really give a crap about producing conservative content. He just wants to tell good stories, but he's 94. He can't keep working forever. The other one, Mel Gibson, is a good director. He definitely produces conservative content, but what, you're going to get one conservative movie out of Mel Gibson every 5 years? And then you also part of that panel that Trump appointed were Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Fine, if they'll produce content for you, but they don't give a shit either about whether their movies are conservative, regardless of their personal politics. They just want to make money.
In terms of the money, Nick, in terms of the money, quick question.
No business
Question, Nick, this is on the money issue.
Shut
This is on the money issue. Quick, Nick, how much did you say the Kennedy Center was being funded?
According to this, federal matching funds are $23 million. Why don't they send the $23 million?
That's what I needed to hear. Hold on, real quick, Nick. Do you know in the past 3 weeks since Doge has been there, we have spent $14 million on Doge? You are quiet. Now, again, also, do you know Elon Musk has a plethora, parking lots full of the Cybertruck because the Cybertruck is garbage. Now, do you realize that we are now signing a deal to buy $400 million of the armored vehicles from Tesla? Where are you on that when you complain so hard about the Kennedy Center? Why do we need Cybertrucks? We don't. Why do we need $14 million plus to Doge? So you're quiet on that in 3 weeks that we wasted money, but you're claiming that in the how many years we've spent on the Kennedy Center to put out all this stuff. See, this is where it's funny to me, your complaint, and it makes your complaint of money extremely hollow.
No, you're so off base, and that's the reason you keep losing, Jacoby. The thing is, the Doge objective is to save billions, and this is going to cost millions to save it. Okay,
this is spent $1 million on Doge and bust already.
Really need the argument to win. This is the reason why your party of hate, will continue losing. Keep putting that, because the American people do not want to.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, because I was going to bring up another issue. Hold on, because there was a protest. Like I said, we're saying that there are efforts that are protests against the current administration. I know y'all going to talk about the executive order, but actually, Reverend Barber was there yesterday, because there are some civil servants that are upset over having to lose their job and everything like that. So he actually made the quote that nobody elected an emperor. I know that even Sasha has made this comment as well and everything. So he actually went up there and was part of a large protest. I'm actually hoping that I can get Alan Red, who is a friend of mine and is involved, I want to say at one point, in the civil service field and everything like that, to come on the show in the not too distant future and share about the protest. But apparently the protest was effective, and there were a number of people that were there in the DC area that were trying to help those employees, federal employees, that have lost their jobs and everything. So is this a fair thing, or have they been terminated without cause, which I know can be an issue in employment? And I'm not even an employer, but I know that termination without cause can be an issue. And I'm wondering if this is what some of these people are actually going to win on, and all along those lines. You're the lawyer, Nick. So is this a legitimate cause today? Are some people that have been terminated without cause?
So some of them are going to win their jobs back, because the thing is, some of them are, like I said, if you guys were smart, which obviously the Democratic Party you would rifle in the areas that they're going to lose and hammer that, rather than say Trump's a bad guy. That was your message last time he lost. And here's where they're going to lose. The federal inspector generals, they're under contract. He just can't fire them. Your friend Trump will lose those cases. Then some of them, they're going to win, but you've got to rifle shoot and not just say, hey, Trump's a bad guy. You keep doing that, you're going to lose. Why does Trump look like an emperor? I know Jacoby likes to hammer that. So the reason he looks like an emperor is your previous president for 4 years was asleep at the wheel. When you got a guy who doesn't do anything for 4 years, the person who comes and does anything looks like an emperor compared to the moron you had in the office for 4 years, asleep at the wheel, and the successor never came by. So as you continue to attack people and not rifle your arguments, wait, you're going to lose again in 2 years.
It looks like
Joshua?
because of a completely different reason, because he completely disregards the old judicial system of the United States. Because even if liberals, Democrats can win certain cases here and there, he has no obligation to follow up the whatever the judge will decide. Even the judge appointed by him, it doesn't matter. He will say that, oh, you judge interfering with the working of United States government, I'll put you in jail. Just go away. Trump, he disregards, he has Supreme Court.
Sasha, you don't understand how our system works here.
Against Trump. In worst case
This
scenario,
is the Soviet Union, dude.
appeal will go on for a year and a half. Then he will appeal, if he will lose, then he will take it all to Supreme Court for another 2 years. And then his presidency will be over by that time. So it's impossible to get any meaningful judgment against Trump and his cohorts. It doesn't work anymore. Forget it.
So the way that the Democrat Party actually wins the next time, everything Nick's saying is wrong. Because yes, because let me explain to you why you are wrong. One, you're wanting the Democrat Party to argue for transgender rights. That's one thing again. You said, hold on, Nick, listen, Nick, listen. Listen, Nick, hold on, Nick, you're not going to talk over me. Nick, listen, you got to listen. You started off with that. You said, hey, we got to argue for transgender rights. This is exactly what you said, that we have to argue for transgender rights. And then you have also argued that the reason the Democrat Party lost. Number two, you have argued just now that the Democrat Party should argue for the employees that got fired because that is what people really care about. You're saying that the Republican Party, who has argued and voted against the quote unquote deep state, and Trump is firing the deep state people, that the Democrat Party will now win by actually supporting the people, the deep state people. That's not what's going to win. What will win for the Democrat Party is talking about the things that people have found out because they effed around and now are finding out the issues that are going on and tapping into that anger. The Venezuelans who are mad because Trump now sent their people away. The Latinos in Florida who changed their name from Latinos to Trump to Latinos. I forget the final part, but they took away the for Trump part because Trump is sending away those people, tapping into those individuals and that anger that's going on. The actual anger now from people finding out that because he's removing the individuals that deal with special needs problems in schools, tapping into that anger, tapping into the schools that are going to lose funding. For example, Sarasota is going to lose roughly about $80 million in funding. That's a town in Florida, a city in Florida that's going to lose a lot of funding. West Virginia, there are school closures that are going to happen. And where are these kids going to go? That's what people need to tap into. That's where the Democrat Party needs to go.
Talk about trends. 90% of the time, 85% of the time, the party who holds the White House loses the House at midterms.
Yeah.
And this time the margin is the smallest in history. 3 or 4 people out of 400 is the margin the Republicans have. And people get pissed at the party in power, and it's very likely that the Republicans will lose the House in 26. Trump's approval, he's been president for less than 3.5 weeks. His approval has gone from +8 to +3. In a couple more weeks, he'll be back underwater. And so at the very least, the Dems will take back the House.
And
I don't think so. They don't have the talent pool to take back anything. They
don't have to have
can't even manage a lemonade stand. So what you're going to see is the
trend
Republicans
will,
probably
even if the
increase
Democrats
their
are
lead.
no, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
Even if the Democrats are inept, they will take back the House. Now I want to talk
No.
about Tesla trucks for a second. So
That's
the
interesting.
government's going to buy $400 million worth of Tesla armored vehicles. Tesla trucks start at $82,000. Ford electric trucks start at less than 60% of that. They start at $48,000. So this just seems like a giveaway to Musk.
It is. It's legitimately a government corruption. Everything that the Republican Party supposedly voted against is government corruption. And yes, Elon Musk can't move those trucks. Nobody wants them. And so, yes, the government is going to buy off of them. And they're also going to buy into probably Starlink. They're actually, if you notice, some of the contracts that got cut, quote unquote, for DEI, SpaceX DEI program didn't get touched. They have this whole push that they're sending the first black woman to the moon. Isn't that a DEI program? But they're not going to touch the amount of money that went to Musk for that. They're also the amount of farmers that are upset because the amount of food, amount of money that's being taken away from them. So yeah, the honeymoon stage is what Trump is acting in right now, and that honeymoon stage is going away quickly.
Hey, Toby, speaking of the honeymoon stage, because one of the things that even Reverend Barber talked about, and I think we brought it up before, and I think even on the Modern Investment, Sasha may not be a big fan of it, but there's this whole conversation around the, not just the racial divide, but the fiscal divide. And apparently one of the government agencies has said that the poorer households will increase the largest drop in purchasing power in history, and that was just released recently and everything. So do we need to care about this divide among the classes, not even divide among the races, but divide among the classes? So it seems like the poorer people are getting poorer, the middle class is shrinking, and the rich people are getting more power, and all along those lines. But what is our...
Yeah, but before we get into that, Mark, we need to clarify the lies that have been on the left here in this particular thing, and that deals with the $400 million procurement of Tesla trucks. The document was revised and says it's $400 million of, quote, armored electric vehicle. There is no mention of Tesla. So that's something, again, the left just picks it up. They pick up a lie, they repeat a lie, and they believe everybody's supposed to
revised? Nick, when was that revised?
Just one Nick, when was that revised? Here, everybody in our audience knows that this was just a left.
They are buying Tesla armored trucks.
Not what the procurement thing said. It says here specifically, it says it's listed as a 5-year contract worth $500 million as of Wednesday night, 9/12 EST. The item was revised to say armored electric vehicles.
So they took Tesla. Hold on. Let me.
No mention of Tesla.
Tesla out of the statement. Does that mean that they won't buy Teslas? Nobody knows.
No, nobody knows. Right.
So Nick, hold on, wait, Nick, you're a smart guy. Nick, you're a smart guy.
And just lie to the American public.
Nick, hold on.
Do that.
Nick, wait, you're a smart guy. You're a smart guy. You cannot. You're a smart guy.
Nothing has been purchased.
Nick, wait, Nick.
This is all called for speculation.
No gaslighting. Now you're just gaslighting. So let me help you. It first said Tesla.
You can rule this man to be out of
it said Tesla.
The first report said the official statement from the government initially said Tesla, then they pulled Tesla from the statement so Musk could go on Twitter and say, Rachel Maddow, why are you lying? It was a bait and switch.
It was after the press conference.
You guys fell into a trap. Not
and
surprised.
all of that.
Nobody fell into
they offer you a pawn.
This is how misinformation gets spread by exactly what Nick did, because Nick was easily manipulated into saying something extremely ignorant. Again,
hold on.
One dime that's been spent on.
Hold on a second. Rick has something to say. Hold on.
Wait.
It's Rick's turn.
Bullshit government plays trolling games like this.
A government run by a guy who changes his name on Twitter to what is it, Harry Balls or Big Balls? So again, Nick, you know that once they got the flag for saying Tesla trucks, they just took out the word Tesla and still are buying Tesla trucks. So
There's no way you know that happens.
the idea that it is going to be some other truck besides Tesla is
You're
ridiculous.
making it up.
Nick,
Just
you're right.
making it up.
You are right. I would like to ask you
I
a
can't make
question.
things up.
If
Yeah,
it's true,
gotcha.
what you're saying, if it's true that no one dime will be spent on Tesla trucks.
I didn't say will be. I said it has been.
Oh!
This is your
You're right.
speculation.
You're right.
So
You're
you're
right.
speculating.
You're
I'm
right.
speculating that 1 million is going to be dropped into
right.
the U.S. government.
Absolutely right. So, any trucks will be purchased.
You know,
Forget about Tesla.
no wonder why you guys lose. No wonder you guys lost. No wonder why you guys lost. You make things up.
Any
And then you
trucks
complain about the Republicans making things up. It's hilarious.
Easily manipulated.
will be purchased by government. Any trucks at all. Maybe Ford, maybe GM. Any trucks will be purchased.
It could be. It could
You don't
be
know?
Ford, could be
You
General.
don't
We don't
know.
know.
You don't know.
All you're doing is speculating, Counselor.
Okay.
No.
Have you guys ever been in front of a
You
judge?
know whether trucks will be purchased or sold.
I'm sorry. If you guys are in front of a judge,
Trucks
you'd be
will be
doing that.
purchased. What are you talking about? The hell? When you
I'm
don't
talking
know
about
nothing about it.
speculation, Counselor.
Nick, here's an easy solution. Here's an easy solution.
Okay,
Because
all
this is
speculative.
why, no, Nick, this is the law. This is you. This is your pathway. Now, this is an easy solution. Just like every government official, sans Trump, is supposed to divest themselves away from their actual businesses. Every government official is supposed to go through an ethics review. Every government official is supposed to avoid conflicts of interest. So all we have to do is get the government and Elon Musk to sign a deal saying they will not buy Tesla products as long as Elon is head of that actual company. So that's an easy solution. That fixes your, hey, we won't buy Tesla trucks or Tesla products as long as Elon is head. Why can't we agree on that?
Because there's no reason to.
My point exactly.
Other than the fact that you don't like Elon Musk.
You're just advocating for government corruption. That's all it is.
I don't know Elon and everything.
The thing is, it's putting into the bid and whether or not it is actually.
So Tesla doesn't make the best electric truck, but yet if we're doing this whole meritocracy, remember Tesla's trucks are not the best trucks. So we should not buy Tesla trucks. If we're talking about the best electric trucks, again, you're looking at Rivian, an actual U.S. company, and Rivian actually makes a better electric truck than Tesla. Ram is actually a better electric truck than Tesla. Ford Lightning is actually a better electric truck than Tesla. Again, if we're talking about a meritocracy, if we're talking about buying the best for a cheaper price, again, Rick pointed out the cheaper price trucks are actually better. So we should not buy Tesla trucks, but we will because Elon owns Trump.
Speaking of people, hold on a second. Speaking of people owning folks and everything, because this is what I wanted to get to, Sasha, before we end. We've only got about 10 minutes and everything, but there are a couple of deals that are on the table, and we talked about it a little bit earlier and everything with Ukraine and apparently Kyiv, where I know that Ivan is based at, and the EU are alarmed about the prospect of what is being called a dirty deal after the Trump-Putin call and everything, and apparently Israel and Hamas have agreed to resolve the ceasefire dispute, so it looks like those hostages will be released on Saturday, which is the day after tomorrow and everything. So are these deals actually going to end those two conflicts, and what is your thoughts around the quote-unquote dirty deal and the ceasefire dispute being ended and everything? Because it looks like the dispute has been ended and that they will be releasing those hostages on Saturday, and part of that may be the threat that Trump gave and everything. But what's your take on that, since I know you follow both of those situations?
Okay, forget about the real efforts of Trump to achieve peace either in Ukraine or in the East. see, all his goal is to look good in one and the other conflict. So he's under his possession. He has team of diplomats and ministers or whoever they're going there in Europe right now in the Munich conference. Then they will talk to Netanyahu, and Trump talks to Netanyahu himself, or so on. So he needs to continue with his image. I said, and the deal is done. I told Canada, I'll put the tariffs or else, and Canada immediately yielded. And so, what Canada yielded? They have already this foot on the ground against fentanyl going through the border last year. They didn't do anything new whatsoever at all. Furthermore, there is ongoing boycott of all U.S. products in Canada. People are asking when they're buying fruits, vegetables, they're asking where is it coming from? Oh, U.S., okay, so sorry, we don't need it. Do you think anything from Colombia or Israel or any other country, same like oranges or something like this? There is a boycott going on. Canada is now looking to activate its channels with the European Union and maybe even to join European Union. Right now, Trudeau, who is still a prime minister, believe it or not, for another couple of weeks, he's now is in Europe. Actually, he's doing quite capable job. If he wouldn't be doing so awful job in the last several years as a prime minister, I wouldn't mind him to continue, but of course that's not going to happen. Thank God. So right now, the situation is that Trump's actions are completely counterproductive to the interests of American people. Completely, everything is being destroyed. Whatever he's trying to do. He is not going to succeed in Russia-Ukrainian peace because he's now saying to Putin what a wonderful man he is, what a peace-loving leader Putin is, and he wants to put another skyscraper in Moscow, maybe, or I don't know. What are Trump's real interests? I don't know, and nobody else knows. What is he getting? Of course, he wanted to do some kind of peace negotiations because he wanted to have a meeting with Putin. That's all what he cares about. So he will have a meeting with Putin, then he'll have meeting with Emperor Xi. So he now has supposedly in his pocket all the great leaders of the world. But it's an illusion. Simply because the China and Russia and many other countries are in BRICS, and BRICS are merciless about disposing U.S. as a world leader to completely get away from U.S. dollar as a currency, reserve currency, and they are not changing their course. Yeah, Putin will tell Trump what a great leader he is, and he is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and so on. But it doesn't change anything. So that's another illusion.
Hey, Sasha, along those same lines and everything, because I know you're not a fan. There might be others on this show that are fans of crypto and everything along those lines, but I think Trump still has his crypto dollar. I'm not sure how the crypto dollar is doing at this particular point, but I did see a country that has been in the news in the past, which is Myanmar, actually just got busted because 100 of foreigners were freed from a scam center. So it looks like they were having some crypto scam center slaves that were freed, ironically, after an electricity shutdown and all along those lines. So is this going to put a dent in crypto, and how is Trump's crypto doing? Because I think both him and his wife have their own crypto that did good when they first came into the office, but I'm not sure how it's doing now because I haven't been following that market or even seeing how it's doing. But are we going to see even BRICS going toward this crypto direction?
Yes, they have certain plans about going to crypto direction, BRICS, and most likely they will do that. You see, if you will look and you think that crypto will be successful both in BRICS and in US and US-led free world and so on. So basically, then we will see sort of collision between a normal currency like US dollar and euros and many other currencies and crypto. On the other hand, that will be crypto if it's adopted successfully by BRICS. So there is a good chance that the BRICS strategy will be successful and the crypto overall will be successful. Now, where it leaves US dollar, so US dollar will go down substantially, which will help United States because their debt is nominated as in dollar. So if dollar will go down, let's see, 50% from where it is now, but crypto will do really well. And Trump is trying to make a crypto as a reserve currency of the United States and the biggest reserve in the world. So maybe that's a solution for dealing with U.S. debt.
Could be and everything. Hey, Nick, one of your biggest people that you follow on this network or you send stuff to them all the time is the Chinese groups and all along those lines. And I did see, because I was hoping that Shaquille would make a return trip, but I did see that Australia and China are at each other's throat because of a incident with a fighter jet incident in South China Sea and everything like that. So is Australia going to get pulled into a military conflict with China and everything? Because apparently the Chinese fighter jet released flares that almost hit a spy plane over the South China Sea, and now they are arguing back and forth over these unsafe fighter jet moves and everything. So what's your take on what are you hearing in the Chinese Facebook groups?
That's going to be much ado about nothing because no one got hit. So, but I do want to address Sasha's, again, leftist speculation that the tariffs are bad for the United States because the Canadians aren't going to buy our food anymore, and that's going to hurt the U.S. No, it won't. What will happen if they don't buy our food and our food sits on the shelves here in the U.S., which it will, what will happen is it will drive the food prices down, which again will help the American consumer. Frankly, there's very little other than dirty Canadian oil that we need from Canada. So at the end of the day, Canada is going to have to dance to the tune of the U.S. Now it comes to the Ukraine war. Here's what I believe will happen, speculation. You can forget the Donbass region and Crimea. They'll all be ceded to Russia. And then what will happen is there'll be a ceasefire and everybody's going to go home. Unfortunately, Ukraine will lose the Donbass and lose the eastern part of Ukraine. But let's get real. They don't have it anyway. So, it'll be much ado about nothing. They'll cry in their soup. Hey, we lost eastern Ukraine and we lost the Crimea. But then at least everybody will go home and people will stop killing each other. I think that's what's going to be the settlement that's on the table. And both parties are going to be angry. But as they say, so sad, too bad.
One quick thing, or a couple quick things. The 2026 election, we can all agree that Democrats are shit at messaging. However, 2026, 35 Senate seats up for grabs. The Republicans currently hold almost 2/3 of those. They have to defend 22 seats. The Democrats only have to defend 13. So it's likely the Democrats will pick up a couple seats just because the Republicans are more at risk. Now, if you look at approval of Congress as a whole, right now Congress is in a honeymoon period and they only have 30% negative approval. Net approval is negative 30%. All last year it was between 40 and 50%. So it's honeymoon period. By 2026, if we don't get inflation under control, if Trump doesn't deliver on his promises, pissed offness at Congress will again be back at 40%. And it may be a small flip because most seats in the House are gerrymandered and safe. The Democrats will probably take a small lead. So the overall lead, the overall odds that the Republicans continue to have a trifecta after 2026 is less than 10%.
Yeah, just really quickly, and we're going to wrap up the show and everything because we're right at the hour and everything. But I know sometimes we have Sharif on, and we'll have to we can't get him back on tomorrow because apparently his area is in the news and not for a positive reason. But the UN Rights Office is estimating that up to 1,400 were killed in a crackdown on protests in Bangladesh, and there are some people, including the UN, that are saying that the crackdown on Bangladesh protesters may be a crime against humanity. So we'll have to see if we can't get him in to see about what's going on in that part of the world as well, because that was just reported recently, and I know that he's based in that general area and all along those lines. I'm thinking that some of those protesters might even be some of his students, for all I know, and everything along those lines. But on that note, we're going to get on out of here. We've got Barbara Smith coming up at 12 o'clock and some other shows, including Coco McMillan at 6, and of course we'll be back with World Politics right before Coco McMillan at 5 o'clock. So I hope to see Sasha and Rick and others at that particular time. And of course, we got the recording of the chess show on tomorrow, which means it'll air on Saturday. So looking forward to those shows as well. So get ready to get on out of here, and I'll see Sasha at 5 o'clock.